So I wasn't just imagining it. I'm gonna wait until more people jump onto the stream for me to start talking. But this is insane. This is insane, dude. The fact that these people literally like they're 20-year-olds. They haven't shown their face to the public. This like there's a lot to it. I'm gonna get into it in a few minutes. I hope that everybody joins, everybody stays, everybody engages and get some good conversation here. I'm not going to say the company's name, only to, avoid lawsuits, but I will allude to the name at some point during this conversation. I'll say the name at some point, but it's not going to be in connection to this. It won't be in the same sentence, or I'll try not to. But what it looks like is a certain company, they fully understand the risk. So we'll try this again. Hello. All these tech companies, they're trying to destroy America. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. And they almost got away with it if it wasn't for a meddling redhead, such as myself. Because y'all would have kept believing in the lie for years to come, thinking that everything was fine. But no, these people are in the middle of a Rico lawsuit. 15,000 text messages where they were literally coordinating to gain profits, to get people to insider trade. And I don't know if it was them involved in the actual insider part of it, or if it was them facilitating the insider trading. The Clarity Act, it's a big deal because that is what's going to put this company in its place. But fact of the matter is, Pump Fun has a lawsuit, a Rico lawsuit against them. And they're still fighting it. And their goal seems to be to continue raking in fees so that they can pay the lawyers to get away with what they're doing. The videos regarding this information, it has like almost 0 views. It's insane. Like there's nobody seeing these videos because it's completely removed from the algorithm. Imagine how much they're paying to keep it off of the internet, to keep it out of people's hands. Welcome, LWF. Look at this. We got, all right, I gotta be moderator for a second. Give you 5 minutes to not spam again, whoever the hell that was spamming. So there's 15,000 text messages that were leaked by insiders, basically. And Pump Fun knows about the problem. I listened to an interview. He calls all these other companies trash. No, I'm not racist. What I am is nationalist. If you're not from this country legally coming here, then get the fuck out. If you're Mexican, African American, Asian, I don't care what country you're from, just be here legally and I'll love you. I'll hug you. I don't care what, what age you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what race you are. You're a human being. That's simple as that. And I don't even see it as a race. I just see it as you're an American. But anyways, let me move on. So we have Pump Fun getting away with basically murder. All right. And the government is fighting against them. And they are using these fees that you're paying them, up to $1 million a day, to go and pay these lawyers so that they can keep robbing you. That's what's going on. Pump Fun is absolutely a terrible place. You guys saw it yesterday. Go look at my screencast vid. Go watch that. You'll see a freaking coin called Gooner Squirrel. Literally a nasty depiction of something that a squirrel's doing, ends up getting rug pulled. And I'm like, What? Somebody actually threw money at this? Ew. Ew. So that's what's been going on. You got rug pull after rug pull after rug pull. It took them 3 years to code new trading options. Are you fucking kidding me? And then the week that I start talking about Pump Fund, they finally release it. You think it might be more than a coincidence? Finally, somebody's speaking out against this, and now they do something about it. The absolute insanity going on in this world today, what's being allowed to happen. Vote for the Clarity Act. The Clarity Act is going to hold these companies accountable, or at least put them in their place, and make it possible to prosecute people on old charges that are already there, because they will have to have identified themselves and brought their money to the surface. All that dark money has to come to the surface. The Clarity Act is there to protect us from these companies robbing us. Okay? So, push for it, talk to your senators, try to get it in there. I get texts to me. I didn't understand the Clarity Act so well. But here's the thing is that Pump Fund, their owners, there's like 4 co-owners, 3 or 4. None of them have shown their face publicly. They are a mask. You do not know what they actually look like. And then I put pieces together. These same avatars that they're using in place of their face on their social media profiles are the same avatars that are used on Farcaster, on the base network. This is an interlocked insanity. 15,000 leaked text messages showing in some of these text messages that these team members within Pump Fund knew about the problem and actually, apparently, allegedly, participated in the problem. And all they're doing is they're taking those fees and they're bolstering their company up more, bolstering their lawyer team up more so they can continue robbing you. They're talking about targeting teens into being 18, grabbing them right as they're 18 and turning them onto the casino. That's right in an interview. Go look up the interview with one of the co-founders, the Tweedale dude. His last name is Tweedale. I forget the first one. Hey, welcome, Chris. I would look into this whole situation and understand how fucked we really are. These cell phone companies, they can't get your phone back on without all these extra steps. And then even when they do it, they didn't even get your phone fully back on. They do not want to help you. We need to get off the internet. We need to start working with each other in real life. We need to start building, growing. Who are grabbed and put in the casinos as soon as they turn 18. In an interview with one of the co-founders, I listened to the whole thing. It was an hour long. This dude had alluded to basically getting these 18-year-olds on Pump Fund onto Pump Fund. Yeah, offline, by the way. Yeah, if you want to get, we need to get offline. We need to get in real life, talking with each other, fixing things and building things. But we need people that actually have money to coordinate the bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at it as a business opportunity. Look at it as an investment opportunity. That's why I'm telling you guys, if you're rich, if you're a millionaire, stop thinking about the politics. The politics don't matter at the end of the day when it's at your own house. You know what I mean? You're doing just regular business with each other. It doesn't matter. You're just doing a trade-off. You're doing a handoff. Thank you. I need this. And this is, that's yours and this is mine. Simple. That's what we need to do. But basically, let me get back onto the point. So in this interview, this dude says many, 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 many times, all these other companies, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all these other companies are shit, trash, and Pump Fund's the best. Really? So all they ended up doing was they kept the same interface. Like, as far as I know, they kept the same interface for 3 years. It took them 3 years to add new trading options. Just within this last week, they did it. Come on, man. $1 million in a day? 50 million. They're looking at trying to get $50 million out of people's hands a day. And they call that a successful business, but all they're doing is getting fees at a casino. Really? Open your eyes, people. And they're stealing, they're robbing from the 20-year-old generation right now. The Generation Z, they're getting robbed blind. I didn't know it was this bad. It took me a full month to see these coins cycle through. It looked all right. It looked like if you just held, then eventually it'll gain interest. But then I did the common sense math. And I was like, well, okay, I tried one of these coins called Bitcoin. The thing had 1,700 people holding. I jumped in, and other people jumped in, and the fucking thing rugged. It went up to 30K, back down to 5K. Immediately. It was like, we don't want to see this coin go back up again. We're just trying to pull back our profits, recuperate what we lost. That's what it looks like to me. The entire space is full of criminals. The entire space is full of people that just want to steal your money. It's a cycle. As these people end up going live, they do a cycle, and it's almost like a routine where they're like, all right, guys, pump the coin. Oh, I threw $2 at it. Hee. Guys, jump in it. Oh, throw 100 in it, man. Throw 100 bomb at it. Yeah. And then they never actually sell. But instead, on that creator account they're not selling, it's on a different wallet that they're selling. So they're on a whole different wallet, playing around with the token, selling it when it goes up. So these creators that go live with their face, they're in the back end pulling profits off your ass as you keep putting more in. You think you did something wrong. No. These people are out there to rob you. And it is clear. So you have a goal of making an Illuminati for betterment of these things, offline, powerful, secret. Not really. It doesn't take that. I'm looking at just keeping it real. Being just a normal human being. Look at what the Amish did. Like, Amish still do trade with normal civilization. They're not secret to the point where you don't know what the hell they're doing. All they're doing is taking care of cows and, making stuff out of leather, crafting stuff out of wood. Like, that's what they do. They're not leading a secret society just to be self-sufficient. What they are doing is they're building farms and they're being self-sufficient. They don't need the general system that everybody's relying on. Let me reposition this so it's not so weird, because it's like, yeah, kind of. But I was watching these coins for like the last month straight, and that's what I'm here to sound the alarm on. No, the space is completely loaded with criminals. It's like 80% of the people there are just trying to steal your money. He said he got robbed for $1,000 on Ethereum coin from a pretend friend. That's terrible. Dude. Solana is an Ethereum coin. Pub Fund coins are an Ethereum coin because Solana is on the base network. Did you know that? So it's all interconnected. If you'd only, just do a bit of research, go look into Rico lawsuit, Pump Fund, go look up these videos. They're out there, but they only have like 2,500, 5,000 views. They're not really popular videos. They're pulled out of the algorithm, but they still exist. What you'll see when you search up Pump Fund and like controversy or something, you'll find people promoting rug pulls. You'll find people saying, this is how you rug pull. So you're basically talking about how most cryptos are trying to rob you with the flow of the hype. Well, technically, but technically not. There is potential in the space. But the problem is even you guys, anybody that has visited my Pump Fund account and had money to throw, $1 at it, nobody's in solidarity with a movement with crypto. We need to just stop fucking with it. It's a waste of our time. You can do a handshake on a device, but who's there to oversee that? Just because you did a handshake on a trade doesn't mean that you're going to get your product in real life. You still need to have that relationship with someone in real life. At the end of the day, they might just run away with your crypto and thanks. So I didn't get robbed hard. I made a couple of bad decisions, I could say. Yeah, stocks are a little bit better, but they're not all that much better. I'll explain that in a minute. Great Depression of 2032, the Great Depression of 2030 that's coming up. what was I talking about? Bring me back to earth because I'm sitting here like on billion thoughts right now. What was I just going to talk about? Like a lot of these coins, they'll even have a liquidity pool where that liquidity pool is tied in. This is how they fuck you on just Ethereum, like on Base Network. They'll have a liquidity pool that's attached to a coin that's been artificially pumped. Okay, and that coin, because nobody sees it, and because it's paired with that token that's on Base, they'll pull the value out of the actual token that has been recently pumped because the Base token was pumped. So the paired token gains value, and then they pull that value out, and that's another way they fuck you. So you won't even see the transaction unless you're watching the paired token. There's all kinds of nasty ways they fuck you. And that's why I say, guys, throw $1 at something. Don't throw $10. Don't throw $100. Even if you think that thing's going to go to the moon, don't do it, because many of these situations are when they're just taking your money. Look at this person. You might want to investigate that person. The person's calling me a crackhead because I'm bringing up actual facts, stuff that's actually officially out there. Like, why would they want to be trolling? Just think of the mentality. Think of the intent of what somebody had just done. These trolls are everywhere, and they're very hidden, and they keep their identity secret. So these owners of Pump Fun, they haven't shown their identity. You know their names. It's like the Ross Ulbricht situation. You're not going to see their names until you see them in court, until you see them prosecuted. No face ghosts just sitting up there taking your money. And what is it? 15,000 leaked text messages, many of which basically confirmed, like allegedly, I have to say allegedly confirmed that Pump Fun had facilitated and, in fact, operated with these people that are trying to rug pull you. Don't give financial advice. I think this is the best financial advice that I can give you. Don't throw more than $1 at something, unless it's a verified stock, unless you can see the face of the person that's running that stock. That's great financial advice. Somebody said not to give that as advice. I think that's perfect advice. I think that's the best advice you can give somebody. I didn't know it was this bad. I was out there pumping coins. I was like, yeah, cool. And I was like being cool about it until once again, it took me maybe another few days, maybe a week after the initial 3 weeks that I'd been staring at these charts to notice that these companies do not come back up. All right, you're getting banned forever, dude. I gave you a chance. Goodbye. Yeah, look more like a fact head. That's a good one. So, yeah, SpaceX ain't doing too well. Doesn't matter. See, I'm getting distracted from all angles. Just people do not like the fact that I'm telling the truth here. So, anyways, I wish that you guys just use your heads. If you're gonna get into space, do not throw more than $1 at shit. Staking Ethereum, fuck man. When this lawsuit comes through, when the Clarity Act comes through, you're probably gonna see that price either go through the roof or dip. I don't know which one it's gonna happen, but it's gonna be volatile. And if it goes through the roof, it's coming back down. What goes up must come down, and it can go back up again, but the likelihood of it coming back up again comes down to hype, comes down to legality, whether or not it's a something that people should be doing legally. So what I'm doing is I'm just speaking the facts that are already out there. They're already out there. I had to discover them myself in order to confirm that they were true. But look up Rico lawsuit, Pump Fun, 15,000 leaked text messages, interview with one of the co-founders, the Tweedale dude. Tweedale interview. Look that up. Go listen to the dude. He calls all these other companies trash while all they're doing is they're taking your fee money and then throwing it in their pocket so they can send it off to a lawyer. Oh wow, you can't even open your wallet anymore. Yeah. So, is that base? Is that because the Google Authenticator? I almost got locked out of my wallet a couple of times, but thankfully, I keep my old devices just in case with that information, so that I don't lose that. So, like, that's why I didn't lose my accounts, is because I'm already on top of protecting my data. I'm already on top of, I have things written down. I have, you know what I'm saying? Very, very important shit. It's not even written down. It's actually in another device that's offline at all times. That's the best way to preserve your wallets. Put it into your other device. If you have an offline device, always have that shit in airplane mode. Always have that shit disconnected from the internet at all times. In fact, make it a Wi-Fi only device. And then nobody can really just dig through your stuff and find your wallets. That's the best way to preserve your wallets and your information. And make sure that thing is always offline, airplane mode. Cannot automatically turn on Wi-Fi. Make sure that these options are set. For me to have been hacked so easily through Telegram shows that these companies do not want you to actually come up and rise to their level. What's my favorite book? Ender's Game and the Bible and what else? It's another book that I really, really like. But Ender's Game was a really, eye-opening one. Anyways, moving on. Pump Fund is an enterprise that is screwing everybody who enters it. And they're targeting kids. Dang, I can tell you reject Jesus. What? Yeah, you just buy gold from now on. And you know what? If you got the money to buy anything right now and you want to invest in gold, but also invest in the tools to work that gold, to work the precious metals. Get the ladle, get the way, the stuff to weigh it, get the clippers, get everything that you need to work with metals so that you can make your own coinage. Get a press, get all that stuff, man. That's how you're going to make it through the next generation. If you want to be on top, if you want to be, just a Luddite, I mean, that's fine too. You do your thing, but that's my best financial advice that you can. I appreciate the likes as well, by the way. So here we go. What else can I talk about here? I saw a coin last night, and you guys can go check my last live stream. I saw a coin last night called Gooner Squirrel, and I saw people actually throwing money into it. And I was talking about the chart as it was going, and I was like, it has potential to go up for a second, but it's coming right back down. Oh, wait, no, it's actually coming right back down, but it's going to stop here because of the signals. You can see when that price is eaten up by a bot. You can see when that price is eaten up by a bot. You see a little thin line. When you watch the Pump Fund chart, it's truly hard to just hold yourself back. It feels like you should be part of that because you're like, oh man, look at this chart. I want to be in it. Yeah, last night's live was wild, I was like, this token has potential for a few minutes and then it's going to die. This coin's going to fall in a few seconds. And it ended up falling. And why? Because I've been watching these charts too long now. I don't know what Dhaka is, but welcome. So once I was 12, my dad flipped our car in a lake and reported it as stolen the next morning. Oh, okay. Let's see. So what else is going on? You got a bunch of these 20-year-olds that are showing their face, are risking their lives by going into the live streams and pumping these coins and then dumping them. But they're not the ones that are showing that they're dumping them. It's other people that are behind it that are dumping them, and they're doing insider trading. Totally legal. You're not supposed to get into the coin first and be like, you're the only people that know about the launch before it launches, and then immediately as it launches, you're in it. That's illegal. That's based on old laws. The only reason why they're not prosecuted is because their identities haven't been released officially. So they didn't put an actual name to their face and the name to their wallet. I saw one wasn't even verified, was worse. But you know, the verification thing, the verification thing is every single time a new token is made, it's not verified. So the chances that you're going to find a verified token are like maybe about 20% of the time. My token isn't verified. My token has actually been flagged as spam, but it's only because people went and reported it. That's the only reason why. It's not because there was weird activity or anything. It was like the creator, me, bought it one time and left it. I left it alone for a long time. And my old coin, Based Bear on Soul, if you guys do go check out my pump fund at Godfinger, you'll see the Based Bear on Soul. Look at the actual transactions. I held onto that token. It was like $50 for 2 months. I went live for hours at a time. You would think at some point somebody's going to want to, you know, jeet into it and jeet out of it. No, of course not. 2 months, man. I have a good clean record on there, but the chart looks terrible because other people went and pumped and dumped it. But, you know, plenty of people would say, who's to say that wasn't me? Well, I'm just saying it wasn't me. I didn't have hundreds of dollars to throw into tokens, dude. If I had that, I'd be in a fucking car making actual honest wage in my vehicle. You know? So you can see by history, you can look through the transactions and you can find that I do not have money to be throwing around everywhere. But imagine that. A broke DoorDasher is able to hold on to $3 in a token, $50 in a token, longer than somebody else that's a veteran trader. They're all over the place, throwing their money at this, throwing their money at that, losing it here and there. They couldn't hold it for more than 2 hours. Really? They couldn't hold it for more than 2 hours, dude. I'm down here in Florida. That's how investing works and supposed to be made. I don't know what that means, but regardless, I'm gonna make some coffee. You guys can keep continuing to comment. Let's talk more about this. You know, what do you guys know about this stuff? Have you guys tried other blockchains? And have you been scammed before? Did you know it's a federal offense if somebody drains your wallet? So if you're able to find out the identity of the person draining your wallet, they can go to federal prison because they're not supposed to be doing that. What I started doing was I started calling all these tokens rug pulls in the Phantom chat because, you know, you get the Phantom wallet that works with Pump Fund coins. I went into these chats and I'm like calling everything a rug pull, and like my success rate, because my calls were minute to minute before that. What I did, I switched it up from 60% success rate, pretty high. That's pretty fucking high on a call. 60% of the time you're right. That's a pretty high call, but I got it even higher than that by calling everything a rug pull. Imagine that. So I started calling everything a rug pull. It was like 99% of the time it was true. It was like profit, man. I turned into profit the moment that I started calling everything a rug pull. I saw a token go from 0 to 8 million market cap in just about a day. It looked like Agamemnon, and then it pops down. It fell down, divided by 10. And then from there, it kept slow rugging down and down and down. Now it's down like to 500K. My profession is a lot of things. I can do a lot of things. Problem is, I'm on one bike. That's what I got. I have to risk my life riding down the road. People going 60 miles per hour past me as I'm on the road, beeping their fucking horn at me and shit, trying to scare me and everything. Hey, I appreciate it. Said, hey man, loving the channel so far. You've got some really interesting takes. It's so inspiring to see a guy here speaking the truth. God bless and good luck. I'm not gay, dude. I'm not into dudes. Sorry. I know you want me to be, but never been a thing for me. But these trolls that are going around to these little chats, I thought were just trying to cause problems, just trying to stir up problems. They're actually sometimes right. In fact, a lot of the times right if they're calling something a rug pull. So I started doing what they're doing, but in a less spammy way. Oh wow, you're up till 5. So
Michael.
Yep.
You got a package.
Oh, package there. End up throwing in the trash because fucking AT&T is assholes.
Stopped dealing with them in 2007.
I wish I knew better. But that's the thing is I got the buyer's remorse. I can renege it. So that's the next battle to be had. They want to throw us into internet currency, and they're trying to get the next generation to give their wealth to basically Pump Fund and all these other companies, and they don't want to do anything to protect that investment. And there's no actual liability to do so currently because they just made a software. They just wrote a code. Oh, it's not our fault that people lose their money. It's insane. I'm glad I wasn't stupid enough to, I've been watching these charts for too long to lose my shit. That's why it's a good idea to test a token with $1 and to see, like, they'll even detect a wallet that's just not familiar to their group, to their insider trading group, and then they'll all sell on $1. I'll give you an example of actually not even that, just a single person using a tool. Dude threw in 81 cents 3 times into a token. $2.43 he put into it. I threw in 67 cents. The dude pulls out. Wait, you need 20 cents fucking profit just to ruin your reputation? That's insane. It's a good way to test it, to make sure that, maybe there's other people that actually want to get into it. They see you jump in it with $1 and you make $5. That's how you make the money. You don't want to throw in 10. You don't want to throw in 100. I've never thrown in more than $10 towards a token before. I haven't made that mistake. So just give me a minute. I'm basically just making coffee. The owls are, what the hell is this dude doing? Stop spamming. And give you 5 minutes to rethink your spams. Put in timeout for 5 minutes. But yeah, there's many different perspectives to be had, and that's why I gave it a chance. That's why I was in that space trying to pump around, because I want to give everybody a chance. I want to give everything a chance. But if you fuck me, first time is my fault. Second time is the asshole who did it. It's fault. So I give everybody one chance, and I sit here and I'm like, look, it's my fault the first time. I play things differently. Other people end up thinking third time's the charm kind of thing, and they rely on the rule of three. I rely on the rule of two. The second time you fuck around, that's your fault, because that's when I was prepared for it, and I saw it coming, and I avoided it. And if you still came in and fucked me, that's when it's like, now it's your fault. It's no longer my fault. I prepared for it. So if you found some angle to come at me that was different than what I expected, then it's clear that you are going to continue this campaign and continue attacking me, whoever it might be, whatever it might be about. Let me think what else I could really talk about. There's a billion more problems we could talk about and discuss. But right now, what's happening to the 20-year-olds is they're getting lured onto Pump Fun. The CEOs of Pump Fun, the co-founders, they're all saying, "Oh, this is going to give people, creators, the ability to earn." Dude, it didn't give me any ability to earn. Nobody's fucking pumping my token. It's a nasty place. Everybody in that space that has a bunch of money, they don't want to pump into anybody, any token, even if it's part of a project, as long as it's not part of their trading group. Insider trading. Telegram needs to stop with this privacy bullshit and start holding people accountable. That's another thing. Christ, man, they got their numbers. That's enough to say that person is responsible for something. I didn't know Telegram was that bad. Discord needs to be looked into. All these companies truly need to be looked into, because none of them are lifting a finger to fix anything. It took them 3 years to come out with a new software. It doesn't take you that long to come up with and innovate new ways to trade. It's because they didn't care about their actual company. All of their, "Oh, we're such a great company," is bullshit. All they're doing is pulling in fees, raking in fees, and they're going to go spend it on lawyers so they can continue pulling more fees from you and the next 18-year-old that jumps onto the scene and plays it as a casino. Bro, you're not supposed to be gambling until like 19 or 21, I think it is. You're not supposed to be gambling at 18. The dude already fell for, how is this an American company? The dude sounds British, by the way. I don't even think it's an American company. I think it's... So they're just stealing from you, and they're stealing from your kids. If you're older, they're stealing from your kids. They facilitated nasty things out the gate, and they didn't do anything to hold anyone back. Like in the beginning, there was basically just a porn run. Like there was chicks doing all kinds of nasty shit to get pumped, to get the dude's token pumped, so that the dude, the Taint brothers, can go and continue to rape them more. Andrew and Christian Taint. Allegedly. You hear about that shit? I would have kept my mouth shut if people actually, interacted with my shit, man. Why? Because I would have been distracted. These fucking imbecile trolls are so stupid. They don't even understand the actual diversion tactics that made them possible. They didn't even understand the tactics that that you know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to keep my mouth shut, you should have started handing me fucking, cash, dude. But now that you're too stupid to do that, whoever fucked me over like that, whoever's been doing this shit is too stupid to understand diversion tactics. You know what I mean? Like, why would you not try to distract people from the actual truth with fuck, man? In this case, I wouldn't have even paid attention to the problem at all if people were shoving money down my fucking throat, right? I went to a casino. I'm 23 for the first time a few weeks ago. Never again. Didn't want to go anyway, but the place was flooded with teenagers. Really? Interesting. Pump Fun is basically a casino that just robs you of all your money without all the fun and within seconds. No, I'm not showing anybody my ass. I'm just... Getting some coffee down the gullet. Yeah, Pump Fun is basically just a casino where you lose all your money and you don't even get to drink while you're doing it. Like, you can drink, but They at least give you free beverages at the casino, right? When I say teens, I mean 18 to 20. It looked like a middle school dance in there. And I guarantee it, even the dudes, the chicks and the dudes, they're all getting pimped out at the same time. That's why they ended up getting their money. Some rich dude paid them money to fucking give them handies. It's good to hear these stories because really that's what needs to happen. We need to start talking about this stuff. It's sad that it's gotten to this point. We could have all coexisted, but these fucking trolls are retards. How can you be, Mr. and Miss Mafia and then not distract your enemy with money, the thing that you have the most of? It's because you're fucking that selfish. Your selfishness is going to blow your shit up. Dumbasses. You look at the mafia. The mafia only kept continuing to operate because they offered a service. Because they helped people out. That's why they had power. These people are fucking doing it wrong, man. I don't think you came at a weird time. Somebody said they came at a weird time. You came right at the right time. But to hear an executive that's making $1 million a day call these other companies trash, and yet all they're doing is just pulling in people's fees for getting fucked, rugged. If you guys want to find my shit on Pump Fun, I want you to go through and investigate my trades. It took me 2 months to actually sell out $50. I was a broke person then. I'm still a broke person now. 2 months, man. That's when I was like, I've been live hours a day on Pump Fun. Live hours a day on this token. Nobody wants to pump it, but they just keep staring. Oftentimes they're begging me for money to get a boost so that they can pay for boosts, but then to get my token up. But then they're begging me for money the next day for food. Bro. Might have to wait to invest dealing with some... Oh yeah, don't invest. Like if you cannot invest, if you are not a rich person and you are not already in the Pump Fun space, do not invest. It is not a place to be. But if you are in that space. Go ahead and invest. Throw $1 at it. Be another holder. I'm looking for the number of holders, not the amount of money. The amount of holders matter more. Like, here's the thing, is a whale will see that and they'll be like, wow, there's this many people that are interested in it. If I throw a big bomb in there, then it's going to validate this token, and people that are already in it are going to want to throw more in. That's their mentality as a whale. I know, right? Yeah, like if you're going to be, playing with these tokens and playing that casino, why not just do crack or something? Why not just do, a nasty drug? I get it. That's funny. That's funny. It's almost true. You're a meme coin person? Go check my shit out at Godfinger. It's not meme coins. It's project coins that I don't have enough support on. I am a broke person. I got 70% of a project completed. Yeah, most people aren't holding the tokens. He says he would because I'm legit. Most people aren't holding the tokens. Bro, and no, not rest in peace, Andrew Taint. That fucking rapist, dude? Nah. Allegedly? Nah. Nah, dude. That fucking dude, no. No. Not cool. Not a cool dude at all. I went on his token on Phantom. I'm just like, rug pull. His fucking rug pull. His token's dead, dude. So anyways, what was I saying? Basically, my token is literally just part of a project that if I finish the video game, it's a play to earn game. You guys can earn. Right now, you got the Banking Mastery token and you got the Based Bear on Soul token. Both of these tokens, I'm holding currently in the Banking Mastery token. The only time I'm ever going to pull out of that is in an emergency. And I do not want to pull out of it because I need to hold as many of those tokens as I can to release airdrops. That's specifically for Banking Mastery. For the Bear token, not so much, because the Bear token is going to be like a mob kind of thing. It's going to be like a familiar, if anything. I think it might have to do with your stats a little bit, but you're going to be able to get the Bat token. You're going to be able to get the Bull token. There's other tokens that have already been graphically generated. I've already created the graphics for these. They just haven't been applied to the actual token on Pump Fun yet. There's only 2 tokens available currently. If you guys are getting in it now, basically what I want to do is I want to offer more support into the next token, into the next token, into the next token. So I want to take my earnings from one, put it into the next, into the next, and the next. So that's my plan. I'm not looking to cash out and get famous and get rich. But if we get famous and we get rich on this, it's the volatile legacy ecosystem. We got a whole lineup of coins coming. So this isn't just 2 coins. It's going to be like 30 coins at least. So that's why I also say only throw $1 at it, because there's going to be more tokens down the line too. So you're going to want to throw $1 at each one of these coins if that's what you feel like doing. Because like we got 2.2 thousand market cap. It's the lowest. The chart went like this, whoop, and then it went boom, and then it had another up, and then it went down again, but it's at base level. It's where it started at. So we haven't really changed from the beginning, and we have, 3 holders? So I saw somebody throwing $3 in there after getting rug pulled after rug pull after rug pull. The dude could not hold it for longer than 2 hours. I don't know if this is a troll message, so I'm not going to read it yet. Oh, man, that's funny. So anyways, these same people, this Pump Fun community, one of these people actually hacked me. Actually, just DDoS attack, denial of service attack. Oh, it's DDoS. I think it's DOS. But they basically fucked me, and for just a short period of time. And that's a temporary thing. I was still able to get in my accounts because I have all my accounts available. Nice try, fuckers, whoever tried to hack me, because I was prepared for that. Why am I prepared for that? Because I break phones, dude. I'm active. I'm not sitting in a cave. You know, there's people that are so used to sitting in a cave all the time and they never break their phone. They don't think about, okay, what if it does break and then I can't get into the thing? What if it gets dunked in the toilet? Oh, I can't get into the thing. Well, you're gonna have to have your information somewhere. Let's see. It's fun. Fight it out, guys. Fight it out, guys. So if you guys want to look into it, you want to look into the controversy behind Pump Fun, first of all, you can check out my account at Godfinger. Trade responsibly. Check the description on the tokens. Second of all, yeah, Pump Fun. Look up Pump Fun, Rico suit, 15,000 leaked messages, and the Tweedale interview. And go listen to what the dude says. He just keeps calling all these other companies trash. But these other companies are actually making stuff that's useful for people. What is Pump Fun doing? It's just stealing everybody's money and giving it to Ansem. If I see a token that says, we're going to give all the fees to Ansem, like, no thanks. He's already rich. Let's find a charity. I actually threw $2 yesterday at different ones that said charity on it because I was like, sweet. You know, the creator fees are not going to the actual creator. It's actually going to a good cause. Those ended up rugging still. Even with the charity logo on it. So you think it's about a trend. You think it's about people getting into it because it's like super popular. When Spain won over the weekend, when Spain won, they made a Spain token. And then it pulled. It fucking pulled. Within minutes, it went 40% down. I don't know where it's at now. But it's not all about the trend. Just because it's trending doesn't mean that people are going to throw their money at it. What it means is that the sharks, the people with the huge money, they're going to make money on it. You're not. Unless you're the one running the project or unless you're involved with the community that's running the project and it's an honest project, you're not going to make money on it. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the blessings. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate all the engagement, even the trolls. Just if you're spammy, that's when I'm going to block you. If you're saying things that are like silly things like, oh, you know, you're gay or you look like a crackhead, that's silly shit. I don't really care if you're going to say that, okay? But if you're going to literally say something like, oh, he does this and he does that, like, get the fuck off my stream. You know, I'm going to fucking block you. But besides that, you know, I welcome a troll. I welcome the hate. Hate me as much as you hate somebody else. The person that you hate the most. But I implore everyone to go and look this situation up, look up the Clarity Act. So the Clarity Act, basically what it's going to do is it's going to make it so that if you hold more than 20% of the token, you're now established. Now you're like an established business, okay? I think that's how it works. But besides that, they're going to make it so that if you are the top holder, you're not allowed to sell out that 20%, that 50% of the token immediately. If you do, then you're going to jail. That's Clarity Act. So all these little fuckers, these little whales going around and stealing everybody's money, they'll be held accountable. They're already supposed to be held accountable. But the reason why they're not is because their identities are sealed. It's already against the law to be doing what they're doing. Insider trading, already against the law. That's why through these leaked texts, the 15,000 leaked texts, it puts the co-founders directly under fire. Yeah, it seems like nobody gets held accountable for anything these days, but you don't want everyone to be held accountable for every little tiny thing that they did. You want to go after egregious acts such as pimping people out, such as physically, harming someone, physically exploiting somebody, things that like really change a person's life. And that's the kind of stuff. And what the situation is the little things that people do, that's what's getting exposed, and the deeper, more egregious things, more terrible things are being hidden. So when they steal $1 million from like 1,500 people, that goes unnoticed. But the person that didn't pay, $5 in taxes, and they put everything on the books, that person's going to jail. That's the kind of shit that's going on. You got accountability only going towards those who don't have any power. They're completely fucked. Let me take a rip off this vape real quick. It's going to take me about 30 seconds to go through it. Well, don't put your faith in, specifically me. Definitely give me credit when you're thinking about this stuff, but just understand that there's research that you guys need to do. You guys need to see this firsthand. Yeah, the little guys get thrown out as an example, and the big mouths rewrite everything to give themselves legal loopholes. Yep. That's why I was skeptical of the Clarity Act, because I'm hearing things about stable coins, and I'm like, well, there's people that are holding onto their stable coins and getting yield off of it. Leave those people alone. There's people that got literally maybe about $100 and they're trying to get a yield of maybe $2 a year. Leave those people alone. That's the kind of shit that we need to really, really disseminate. There's people that are trying to come up and trying to do things honestly, and maybe they did something dishonest and they didn't even know that they were doing it dishonestly. There's people that don't even know that they did something wrong. So that's why, the law has been sort of like, in some cases, the little guy isn't getting fucked. In other cases, the little guy is getting fucked, because you have people that have actual power, have actual lawyers that can go after these people. You got big, heavy hands going after little guys. And, thankfully, I haven't been fucked incredibly hard. But that's why I still got a voice, and that's why I'm still going to continue to explain these things, and hopefully other people will be more aware. So just give me a moment. Because I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. Go watch the channel, Full Spectrum Survival. That's where you'll get a lot of information about the bigger things that are going on in the world. It has nothing to do with crypto, it has nothing to do with pump fund, it has nothing to do with any of this stuff that I'm talking about currently. It has to do with wartime, it has to do with survival. But look up Full Spectrum Survival. This channel will prepare you for what's coming, because he's got his own preps. He's got a homestead. He's telling you how to do it. But recently his videos are very doomy, because that's the way the world is right now. We're very close to getting completely fucked. That's one of the more respectable channels that I watch. I watch him pretty much every single day. 2 times. Bushcrafting, that kind of stuff. Yes. Mm-hmm. Knowing how to make string. Imagine how long it takes to make string, and to make a long string at that, and to make it so it won't, rip apart in between. You got the whole string in one piece. For a fact it's not going to break apart. It takes a long time. So you'll want a tool. You'll want to have this tool to create the string beforehand, or do what I do. I'll show you what I do. Stock up on string instead. This was $10. Grab a spool of this. Go to your hobby shop. Go grab a spool of this shit. That's going to save your life. You don't want to be sitting there for hours and hours and hours a day while you're trying to also pick berries and shoot down the deer and trap animals just to survive. You don't want to be also having to make the string. You want to go fishing. You don't want to have to be making that string while you're starving. You want to have it already on hand. That's why it's important to learn how to survive now, prepare to survive now, before you have to survive in the future. I don't know what a salve is. What's it? Explain that. Isn't that, yeah, okay, that does sound like medical stuff and stuff to replace having proper antibiotics. That's the stuff I'm never going to be able to keep up with. I don't believe that I'm going to survive in the coming apocalypse. I'm not going to survive. That's how I feel. All right. It doesn't matter how much I prepare, it's not going to be enough. I've never been arrested. Sorry. So whatever this person is saying. Salve is an herbal ointment. Yeah, to know which herbs are legitimate and which herbs are not. Perfect. And yeah, I'm gonna get that person because it's just, that's nasty. Ew. Yeah, I do have to team up with people, but I just don't know anybody to actually team up with. Would I just go out there and just be like, bro, you're at this store? So, but the rule of law is already gone. Like, we're going to have local rule of law. We're going to have people within our local community we know the face of. We know the like, people know my face because I'm everywhere. I'm always working out on the road. People see where I'm going. People see that I'm working. I have customers that I deal with. So people basically know me, but that's about it. I don't actually interact with them, unfortunately. So this video is all about basically Pump Fund, what I've recently, last night, didn't even have to deep dive to see all this information about Pump Fund and how, like, literally there's 15,000 leaked texts showing that these people in charge did not plan on ever making their platform safe. Like, they say it, but it's just like the Roblox situation. Oh, we'll just leave it up to the age verification. Okay. That's not going to work. What you need to do is not hand somebody under 16 at least a phone. You shouldn't be doing that. Never said that I've been arrested before. I've never actually been arrested before. It's kind of why I have the job that I do. And clean background. Yeah, you don't forget. No, not Free Tate. No. Even after he did what he did, he still didn't come back out of that opinion and say, this is wrong. Schools are showing Chromebooks down, kids shoving. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that the next generation is just, it's getting flooded with tech. He hasn't been wrongfully imprisoned, allegedly. Well, I mean, what do you mean? What has he done? Go look at his actions. You can look up his actions. What did he used to do for money? He used to get cam checks to do sex on camera, and basically would just take their money. He wouldn't even give them. He would give them a small cut, as if he earned it, just for giving them a house to go and get basically raped in. He's not necessarily a good dude. That's something that I do not agree with. At this point, like, at some point, I believe that prostitution could be a thing that people could do, but it has to be regulated. It was never regulated. No, they didn't want to do it. Okay, it isn't their fault for being dumb. Like, they didn't want to do it. What they wanted was money. What they wanted was connections. That's what these chicks wanted. You could have done that for an actual job. You could have built a business instead of a freaking slave ring. You didn't have to enslave them to make money on them. You could have just made a regular business, a grow house. It's not hard. But instead, he chose the enslavement route. And that's why he's going to jail. Like, who the hell would fuck Andrew Tate? Ugh. He's got a small head. He's like not really like what, you're just gonna look at people's muscle? Like, I got muscles, dude. Wait, oh yeah, he's hot. Like, who cares? You do this often. I haven't seen you before. Yeah, I go live pretty much every day. Yeah, he's a glorified pimp. You know, somebody said Tate's a glorified pimp. Absolutely. By the way, I can only see you guys as ats. So like, I don't want to be blasting people on their ats or anything, but so you can look at my old live streams. I even live stream some real life stuff. So yeah, a shitty pimp at that. You know, the fact that people threw so much money at him, and then he's demanding more. He's like, look, I'll promote this token as long as all the creator fees go to me. And he said it just like that. He didn't even say it in a way that was like, hey man, you know, support this project, get me some creator fees, I'll pump back into the token with some of that. None of that. It was just like, hey, I'm daddy and you owe me. Really? Come on. So I don't like the dude just based on his ideological stance. He says all the right things, but there's other people that can say all the right things too. You got to like know that it's all about pulling that information and guiding it towards the right path, actually getting things done. All this internet stuff's not going to matter in the near future. It's going to take one X-class flare just to wipe out our satellites anyways. On top of the fact that we're basically a world at war at this point, even the sun has the ability to take our shit out. All of this bickering and all of this, you know, morality shit, like even the pimping stuff, that's all going to not matter in the near future. These prisons are going to be let out. All these people who have fucked around, they found out for a moment and they're going to be let out. I promise. Like if things hit a certain point, these people are getting back out of those cells. In fact, I think that we might have a reset of everybody's records. So when you, I don't want to give anybody like the idea to go and just do whatever the hell they, you know, want to do. But in my theory, basically, you're going to see in the near future, like AI take over. I think it's going to be by 2029. There's some people that are saying the world's going to end by 2027. I think in 2027 is going to be the opposite. If we get the 3D printing bill in and these companies, their patents can be protected from 3D printers, then you're going to see like advanced technology all around you. Let's not talk about Luigi Mangione. I think it's kind of crazy that, you know, they just pull him out of a McDonald's and start searching his shit. And I think he's going to get away with whatever happened if he had done it. But there's really not enough evidence to prove that he had done it. I don't even think he had. Did he even have the gun on him? Yeah, you can't rely on others for protection. You got to be personally aware at this point The rule of law barely has any effect right now. The only people that are going to be affected by the rule of law are the politicians right now, because that's who's under fire right now. It doesn't look like it, but that's literally what's going on. Like, you saw Trump going to court. You saw even Elon Omar probably going to go to court. You got all these big faces everywhere that are, and they're going to end up, because they're the face, because they're the famous people, because they're the ones in charge. They're going to be the ones that end up feeling the hit. Flock CEO ran way to Argentina, I heard. You don't want to hear my opinion about Flock cameras. Like, all this mass surveillance, hate me all you want. I expect like a couple of likes to be removed for this. But mass surveillance is coming either way. AI is coming either way. And basically we'll have a little agent that watches and guides us through everything that we do, if we choose the mark of the beast, hanging on to the technology. If we begin to live like the Amish, then we can kind of avoid it. Yep. It's a disturbing situation, but it's a necessary evil at this point. People are fucking around. People are kidnapping. People are stealing from each other. And there's no accountability for anybody. We also have to know how many actual American citizens are out there. Are there actually people's like identity? My theory is that millions, if not 10 million, people's identities, Americans' identities, have been stolen, and now they're being run by an invader. An invader came into the country, grabbed their identity, and now that they're that person. Now they're Steve. They used to be Abdullah, but now they are Steve. They tried to keep it hidden, and it leaked a few days ago. What did? Oh, that thing? Yeah. That's interesting, because I thought Flock was winning. That's the last I knew. I mean, just already multiple cops have been reprimanded for stalking women via Flock cameras. I think they're going to be abused for more harm than to prevent them. But there's way worse than that going on. There's hackers also stalking people. There's all kinds of shit. Like, man, it's a terrible world. And nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Everybody's got their one thing. Everybody's got a skeleton. That's why I'm saying everything, it's like we have to reset everything and put everybody on a standard that's like, you fuck around from here on, you get the paddle. That's what's going to end up happening. That's what needs to happen. Nobody's going to take this shit seriously until we go for a full reset. After seeing this many rug pulls in a row and the same faces doing it, in some cases the same faces, not every single person is, you can't prove that this person did a rug pull. But there's way too many coins that are rug pulling for the company to not do something about it. It took them 3 years to add new options to pump fund how to trade. Do you believe that Jesus is the same being as his father? Not necessarily. I believe that Jesus Christ is the word of God, the word of truth, because God is truth. It's not really an entity, through man, through common man. We can remove their authority by withholding legitimacy, like political science definition. We can resist by not participating, by surviving a skew of what they expect. Yeah, and that's why you got Slab City. Like, you do have these movements where they're doing their own thing, but they are still reliant on oil. They're still reliant on the supply chain. They need to build their own supply chain. That's what it's going to take in order to get us out of here. Yeah, Slab City, it's a trailer park, basically. Hey, welcome. We got Param. Welcome. So you believe God is a puppeteer and Jesus is just one of the puppets? I mean, if you want to look at it that way, sure. But, I mean, God is just literally truth. It's just an algorithm. I look at God as something mathematical, and I look at the Bible as like a cause and effect manual. And I look at the 10 Commandments as that 1 to 10 chart. So you got the numbers 1 through 10, you multiply them, and you get the Bible. That's how I look at this whole thing. The New Testament. No, God isn't a personal being. There's no God that actually like exists, but you got to speak to him as God. So that's the thing, is that you have to speak to him as if he's real. You have to believe in that sort of fantasy and speak it out loud behind closed doors. It doesn't matter what you identify God as. There's a common rule of thumb that thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not do these things, or you will likely fail. It does have something to do with your personal being. But God isn't this guy that's standing over your shoulder. Perfect. This is perfectly said. God is omniscient and not man. He sent us his son as an example of God in us, but in a way, not really in us, because it's just everywhere. We are God because God created us. Everything is God. Even Satan is in a way created by God. And it's not even real. Like, Satan isn't real because it is by nature a lie. So Satanism is basically using lies to deceive you. So God created Satan to test us. If we follow Satan, then we follow a lie, and then we fail. No, Satan isn't God, but technically it is. It's like God created Satan as a test to make sure that his loyal followers will continue to follow actual real God and not the lie. So we have Baal, which is the trading amongst each other. You got Lucifer, which is like holding on to, what is it? Using the light as a power of authority to trick others. And then, what's the other one? Like, you can say Satan, but it's like, what's the other one? Basically, Satan, I guess you could say, is that's just to harm, just to confuse, like just to harm, I guess. But there's a trinity within Satanism, and if not, maybe there's 5 points because there's 5 that I haven't identified yet. But I'm literally still going on the journey. I'm not perfect, like I said. My actions are not perfect. My thoughts are not perfect, but I try to better myself each day, and that's what's important. That's what God wants. To lie and lead astray is abomination to the Lord, as of says in the book of Acts, if I'm not mistaken. I see. So, in my opinion, lies are what leads to like everything that would be against the Ten Commandments. So, if you're murdering somebody, it's a lot different than defending yourself and oops, that happened, this person's life ended. It's a lot different. So technically, it's like almost like a lie that performed that act against the Ten Commandments. And everybody lies. Everybody has a portion of a lie remaining within them. But at the end of the day, it's just a defense mechanism. Because imagine that, right? What if we left our walls open at all times? A bear would get in, and he would take all your food, but maybe even attack you. So you have to put up a wall, which is kind of like a lie. It's almost like being clothed. Being clothed is a lie because we're obfuscating us. And that's why we need Jesus. No one is perfect. We are all sinners. That's why we need Jesus. And I beg God for forgiveness, and I beg you guys for forgiveness. If you guys find out, okay, that's the skeleton, I beg you guys for forgiveness. But the thing is I continue to try to do better, and I want to go back, fix things. That's where my mind is. I don't feel right in the wrong things that I've done. And that's what you need to hold deep within you, and you need to beg God for forgiveness. That's your relationship with God. God can forgive you. But your relationship with God is more important than your relationship with man. However, man was created by God so that we can work with each other and interact with each other decently. So be decent to your neighbor. Be decent to the people around you. Somebody said God lied and said he would do whatever it took to keep your child alive. Cancer 1, a God can do whatever. Listen, what happened in that situation is you parted ways. They didn't actually die per se. They're in a different existence. You're in a different existence. They're in a better place, perhaps, because that algorithm was just better. You did your job, and now they passed on to the next existence. That's how you have to feel about it, deep down. Don't feel like you've lost them. That's why I give some credibility to other ideologies, because the Egyptians may be correct. You know, the Egyptians, what they consider like in the afterlife is that they still are on a journey. And that's why one would preserve their body so that they can continue to give them gifts. So, in a way, perhaps they're still living their own life if they've passed. All you've done is parted ways and they're just in a better place. They're still alive in a way. But you have to accept their body is from dust to dust. Preserve their body, allow them to decompose and go one with the earth once again. What about kids who are being abused? God does nothing about that. Oh, he does. But it takes time. And those kids that have been abused, they learn. They become stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Absolutely. That's why you can't look at absolutely everything that did go wrong. Really. That's why you can't look at absolutely everything that did go wrong as some kind of atrocity, because sometimes it's a learning experience. I've been hit by a car twice. Do I look at that as, oh, the end of the world? How dare somebody have not paid attention? Should we need to take people's cars away? In a way. But that's not what I'm advocating for. I just think that that's what's going to end up happening. So let's see. As a kid who was abused, I struggled with that for years, but I truly believe God was preparing me. And that's pretty much what it is. There's struggles that we go through. And here's another thing is no human is actually technically like a demon. There's a lot of humans that want to believe that there's some kind of entity, this dark entity, but that's not true. You're being possessed. You're being used by the devil. And once your usefulness has gone away, then the devil tosses you out. It tosses you out like a rag. Now, if you're like the Tate brothers, that they end up never actually repenting, never actually apologizing for what they've done, and they brag about the things that they've done, they can't be redeemed. They could have redeemed themselves. They could have. But they decided to brag about it. Oh man, we're pimping and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, you could have just shut your fucking mouth and tried to instill good behavior in others. Let's see. Prayer does help. Just because God knows what's going to happen doesn't mean we didn't have a choice. Well, the thing is we don't really have a choice. Is that we have a choice on how to feel. We don't really have a choice on how what things happen. I don't believe in ultimate free will. I believe that we have a little bit of flexibility in between. So the end result of something, that's bound to happen. But we can change how we feel, and that'll change our journey to that point. We came from dust, and then we become dust. It's just, that's our existence. We can't avoid that. But what we can do is we can make this journey along the way fun and exciting, and hug each other and not try to condemn everybody for every little thing that they've done wrong, because there's people that have done things wrong and they would like to be redeemed. You need to give them room to be redeemed, and you can be redeemed. You just need to actually want to be. Everybody can come to the light. I came to the light. And I'm still not perfect, but I know what I've done wrong, and I need to, become better. Nobody's perfect. Go towards the light. Go towards the truth. That's for sure. The light is truth. That's why Lucifer, which is also light, can trick you. There's the Lucifer, Baal, or Baal, and then what's the other one? I had this on the back of my hand. What's the other one? Is it Luciferianism? Yeah, it's Luciferianism. That's what I was confusing it for. So there's only three, as far as I know. Maybe there's two more points because there's a 5 stars, 5 points on the pentagram. So maybe there's another two entities that are involved with this. But there's another problem that we have. And for all the women in the chat, you're going to hate this, but it says in Corinthians, women shall not speak within the church. That's because women are not supposed to be a form of leadership. There was a reason for it. It's because a female's natural instinct is to act emotionally rather than logically, and that's okay. That's why you're great at nurturing. That's why you're great at giving people hugs and making people feel comfortable. That's why, you look beautiful. That's why you are the way you are. You're not supposed to be a leader. You're supposed to be a nurturer. You're supposed to back the people that are great leaders. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So we've put a lot of women in charge, and it's like having a glass sculpture as your leader. It's easily broken. The enemy can break that leader because we've put too many people, too many women in charge. And because these women are emotional, they don't want to see the actual problem and call it out for that. So if they're overseeing a situation, they can't actually fix it because they're deep down in their feelings. No, the Bible doesn't say we are all born sinners. Catholics say that. We will be punished for our own sins, no for Adam's transgression. Well, here's the thing is that humans are never perfect. Everything that you do has a positive and a negative consequence. If you get that promotion at your job, you did a great job. You're now outshining somebody else that may have done more work than you for longer. So can you say that's not terrible for you to have done in one perspective, but then it was okay in another perspective? Nothing is perfect. Every action that we have has a consequence. What you should be, instead of going after specifics, like I kind of am with Andrew Tate, instead of doing that, you got to rely on God, that God will be what rules over at the end. And imagine living a life where you've got everything that you need, all this luxury, and then all of a sudden it all catches up to you. Let's just imagine all these chicks find you and they all smack you all at once in front of like a whole crowd. That would be the most humiliating thing. You don't even have to go to fucking jail at that point. The chicks would have got what they wanted, and the dude would have got his consequence. The problem in today's society is people are too protected from these consequences. We don't want to kill each other. We don't want to steal from each other, but action deserves a reaction. So eventually, if we have our faith in God, then God will take over and perform that consequence. But it's a beautiful thing. Like, God uses maybe somebody like Andrew Tate, Christian Tate, as an example to describe what happens when you've done wrong and you just want to set yourself up like a monolith and never try to redeem yourself. The way that I've tried to redeem myself is expose through the acts that brought me into this journey or that side of, especially the internet, brought me over in this space or that space. I've tried to expose it. So instead of continuing to engage with it and simply just benefit from it through Satan, I decided to expose it. Let's see. The extra biblical false belief of the Trinity. I got to go. Just remember, for everyone, if you're ever unsure, take it to the Bible. Yeah, for sure. You can take it to the Bible as a rubric for cause and effect. If this happens, this other effect is likely to happen. When I went onto the internet, basically I was trying to just find a wife. At the time, someone my age, 26, right? It was chick after chick after chick, basically looking for money, looking to, exploit the situation in some way or tear me down in some way, emotionally. It was like a sea of angry women. That's what I was up against when I went first online. All right. Eventually, I found where decent people were, and that led me into a space where I shouldn't have been. You see what I mean? Like, no one's perfect. That was my first goal with being online. I wanted to find a wife. And what I was instead led down was a rabbit hole of people doing fucked up shit. And I've already explained these things. I've already exposed it. It's all in the algorithms. Look at the algorithms. Look at what they pump. Look what they put forth as a popular trend. Well, for one thing, you got fashion channels that are basically just exploiting these chicks. Like, they just show their products, and they're like, "Ooh, look, this is what I'm using for a product." And these chicks don't understand what it is to actually build a brand. They're just building someone else's brand. You know, these big companies like Sephora and all these, makeup, jewelry companies, even, what is it, the Squishy episode? I think the new thing is like Neatos, like all that shit. They're basically pushing these chicks into pushing the company's branding instead of their own branding. And it's terrible. That's one of the things to be exposed. Feminine men, I don't know. But you seem to put a bunch of weight on your experience with them. You don't know what you mean. Well, like I said, just the chick space. The chick space, they all just want to look for money. They're not really looking to build a brand. They end up failing so hard that they go on OnlyFans, and then they ruin the rest of what they had left, the rest of their integrity. And they follow an algorithm rather than their own personality. So these algorithms have basically stripped, especially women, of their personality. They're not even people anymore. They're just robots. Okay, am I supposed to do this? Okay, I'm going to do this. And obeying a freaking robot. Image. Let me read what Haystack said. The Bible says God said we created men in our image. The thing about the Bible is you can't take it physically. You can't take it literally. You have to take it in a way that's metaphorically true. So everything in the Bible is metaphorically true. It's verifiable and true metaphorically. So you apply those stories to life, but the Ten Commandments are physically true. So that's the difference. You got a book that describes how the Ten Commandments operates, and that's the Bible. Otherwise, you would have, 500 commandments in the Old Testament, which would be hard to keep up with. Christianity is a refined form of what you can consider, Judaism or the Old Testament. King James Version Bible is the best version. That's the one that everybody kind of reads and everybody listens to. I listened to the audiobook. I've listened to the Old and New Testaments twice through. 87 hours total on each. So 87 times 2. So I'm not 100% a scholar. It's that I've allowed those messages to come, pass through me and to, reach me more than I've really just fought to dig into the Bible and really be scholarly about it. What I'm trying to do is, from a layman's perspective, understand the world around me. The Old Testament is the best before they edited it and took out several things. There's something that was taken out, the Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch is an important book to look at for the simple fact that Azazel taught us weapons of war. So these weapons actually came from a form of evil. And you can use that weapon for good too. That's why I'm telling you guys that Satan was created also by God, because Satan taught us weapons of war. If we can't use these weapons for good to go after the people who are actually, like actually attacking us, then it wouldn't have been created from God. See what I mean? So it would invalidate it being a weapon that we can use for good if, in fact, Satan wasn't created by God to begin with. It's just math. Yeah, Satanism is like dualism. It's like that's Baal. So Baal is actually what you're describing. It's to make exchanges with the expectation of a return. That's dualism. Satan, like I feel like there's two elements that I'm missing since there's 5 points on that star. So what I've already identified is Satan, Baal, and Lucifer. There's 3 different entities. There got to be 2 more considering that there's a star. Yes, dualism. You have to know what somebody else wants in order to actually give them what they want and then expect a return. Depending on the original place in the Bible, they translate back to the same word sometimes. And perhaps I might be missing 2 elements. So Satanism may not be that specific identity, but I have confirmed that at least Baal and Lucifer are 2 entities in Satanism that do exist. So there's still a learning process. There's still a learning, things that I still need to learn. And I will find the answer at some point. But the multiple gods idea, there's only really one God, and that's just truth. Simple. It's an easy way to look into it. Satanism is the fine thing. So what people tend to think is that Satanism is just, like, in a way, a monolith. No religion or tradition is a monolith. No group of people is a monolith. There's always going to be a decentralized tone to it. So when you look at Satanism from a regular commoner's perspective, without doing any research, you're kind of stuck in thinking that Satanism is one thing. But no, you have sects. You have different sectors. You have people that believe in this form of Satanism or that form of Satanism or that or that. The centralized doctrine can be interpreted in different ways. But one thing that does underlie the rest is all of them want to follow some sort of a lie. Watch Tyler Oliveira's video and look at all the scammers like in Paris. They give you a bracelet and they're expecting money back from you. That's Baal. And if they don't get the money, if you don't donate to them, they're like, hey, give me that back. And they take it back. And that's basically a lie. They lied to you. I might be I didn't say Baal is Satan. The thing is that I believe now, after I really thought about it, there's probably 5 different entities that exist within Satanism. At first I was thinking 3, but maybe 5, considering that there's 5 points on the star. My brain is still expanding and learning. I go ahead and I slow roll it, slow experiment it in my head and slow realize things so that I am on point when I do. Regardless of all of the facts, Luciferianism, or what I identify as Luciferianism, the secrecy and the diversion, is an entity. It's a form of a lie. Demons don't exist as an actual physical entity. Somebody said Baal is just a demon, a fallen angel perhaps. These are entities that don't actually exist. These are spirits. Even if, in its definition, if it's a spirit, it doesn't exist in our physical realm. Evil is people that are being evil are simply possessed by these demons. They're not demons themselves. That's why you see the worst doing the worst things. At the end of their run, they're like, I found God. If you can find God before then, you might be saved. I don't believe that they're physical. I believe that people are redeemable, and if people are redeemable, then therefore there can't be a single demon that actually exists on this planet. It's just demons possessing people. And people are susceptible to that. People can be, yeah, demons don't necessarily have a physical body, that's for sure. But like I said, I'm not a scholar. I will find out the truth eventually, though. And once I see the truth or get close to finding that truth, yeah, for sure. I know that. You said you're agreeing with me. I know that. I saw that. Understand though that your icon is blue and the other person that hates me apparently is also blue, so I have to like disseminate between the two. Extra thinking that I have to do. You need Vine's concise dictionary of the Bible. You'd like it. Concise dictionary for the Bible. I gotta find my phone. Oh. What's that? Of the Bible. Okay. It's 10,000 screenshots of information. Crazy. God has no body for the same reasons demons don't have physical bodies. It's spiritual influence, yeah. And that's the only way it could truly actually manifest. Humans are limited. We're not perfect. Hey, welcome. Yes, we have a lot of viewers today. I went on Pump Fun. I pulled in quite a few people from there. My subs have actually grown quite a bit in the last few days. So, and I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the engagement. This is big. I'm hoping to continuously bring more information to the table and maybe find a peaceful resolution. Like what I believe for a long time is that we can coexist. The way that we need to coexist is just strengthening ourselves, strengthening our communities. We don't need to do, when we do trade, we choose who we can do trade with. Easy. People end up hating like Israel and the Jews because they are Zionist. Well, what's wrong with nationalism? What's wrong with being Amish? What's wrong with being a strong community, a tightly knit local community? What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that, as long as it doesn't include invading the Western world. We could talk about that at another time. People want to call these people out for doing it, but they're not a monolith. None of these people are monoliths, just like America is not a monolith. Have you read the Kybalion? Nope. Look that up too. I don't read a lot of books. The perspective that I gain is from a layman's perspective. So I used to read like religiously when I was young. But I want to look into this stuff. I'll definitely be looking into that. You didn't float out your body is well documented. I don't know what that means. Nationalism has inherently unethical implications. How so? Somebody breaks into your fucking house. What are you supposed to do? Just let them live there? Apply that to your country. Communities that cause harm on others for no justifiable reason are evil. I don't see the Amish doing what Israel does to their neighbors. Well, here's the thing is that what I found out the other night after doing a deep dive into this, not even a deep dive, just a surface plunge, I found out that yes, 90% or 80 to 90% of the NGOs working as humanitarian aid are advocating for the flooding of foreigners into the Western world. That's absolutely true. But there are 10 to 20% that are Christian conservative that are not getting enough support to provide to the countries that they're already in. So Israel is not a monolith, okay? Just as America got taken over by the Biden-Kamala administration, the same way that these Israel organizations had been, the ones that were screaming the loudest ended up being the invasion. It's not Israel in general. It's just you got groups that are promoting the invasion into the Western world. They're not a monolith. You can't look at Israel as just the problem. Not everybody in Israel even gives a fuck. They just want to live their lives and continue studying the Bible. Let's see. Nationalism loves their reigning government above their country. Patriotism loves their country and what it means above the leaders or agenda. But we are the ones who appoint our leaders. So those leaders are supposed to be the ones that those are us, supposed to be. What instead has happened is you have Save America Act isn't being passed. You're seeing foreigners coming in voting these invaders in. That's what's happening. So the voting systems have allegedly been rigged against Americans. The only people who are actually getting huge amounts of support are foreigners and then the Americans who aid and abet the foreigners. And human nature is a nature of sin, does not make it right. You pick and choose how you live your life. It's still, the thing is, you know, Christianity, you have forgiveness. You can forgive them as long as they have tried to actually redeem themselves. And as long as it wasn't reprehensible. Like you rape someone, that's reprehensible. If you're looking at someone, it's quite a little bit different. You tell somebody to jump off a bridge, that's reprehensible. You can't redeem yourself after that. You know what I mean? There's differences. There's levels to this. I don't know, Angel Watcher, who you're talking to specifically, but I don't even really want to respond to that specifically. Buddy Honey, Democrats have paid to reform border policy for decades. They're not reforming it. They're trying to give asylum. It's in their fucking words, dude. They're trying to give asylum to invaders. They've been saying that for decades. What are you talking about? They've been fighting for border reform. No, they haven't. They were trying to Joe Biden was selling the pieces to the wall. These people were evidently trying to allow and abet and aid the invasion. Do the math. What are you talking about? Democrats didn't want to close down the border. They wanted to blow it wide open, and that's exactly what happened. Ever since Trump got into office, just about maybe 6 months in, we've had almost a complete stoppage of invaders. Like, if you're like 20 or something, you're going to have to do a lot of research. You're going to have to do a lot of studying, go on BitChute, find the stuff that's not available on YouTube. Go find history. You know, you want to look at Epstein? You know what stands out above his shit with like raping people and stuff? Like, you want to see what's worse than that? You want to see what he's actually funded towards worse than that? AI surveillance in your kid's bedroom. Before all of this stuff blew up and was like super a popular topic for everybody to talk about, the rabbit hole led you to looking into their AI surveillance. They were trying to put teddy bears with fucking AI surveillance in your kids' bedrooms. Insane. Look into it. If you can't find it on YouTube, go look up on BitChute and you'll find that information. I don't even know if BitChute's still up, but let's see. I'm going to go back. I'm going to read a few of the comments, see if there's anything that can lead to another discussion, I guess. This person, dude, you got a name called Stinky Farter, and all you're doing is just trolling. You're off my channel. Goodbye. There's no actual discussion there. It's just troll. Let's see. Near-death experience was more powerful than any drugs. Yes. That's why when you go and you exercise, you can still reach that level of endorphins. It's because you're pushing your body. And then that pushes your mind and then, pushes endorphins. These endorphins overwhelm you and you feel like you're in that, in that zone. Let's see. So you don't even need drugs to reach that level of awareness. Just go and exercise. As the government of country acts in an ungodly way does not influence how I live my life and interact with others. The question with the government is that the government that we've elected now isn't really elected by the people. So the people that are in charge of us right now aren't really like our legitimate representatives. That's why things are messed up. There's no actual oversight. Special interest groups are getting all of the funding. It is human nature to conquer. If you are weak, then it is you. Just don't cover it as a savior thing. Well, the thing is that I think we're done conquering. I think everybody just wants to find peace where we've already chose where we live. When the Europeans went over to the New World, they were running away. They were refugees in America. Okay? Now they've established a nation, and they included the Native Americans that were already there in that country. They've given them casinos, their own land. If they decided to trash it to hell, well, we conquered this area, but not really, because we conquered it as a refugee. Now, if we allow for refugees to come over, but these refugees aren't even actual refugees, then we're just allowing for an invasion. The same thing over again. And if you want your own country to fall apart, that's how you're going to let it fall apart. We're going to go back to the third world. If you don't want these cell phones, you don't want to have access to oil, you don't want to have access to regular, consistent food in a supermarket. If you don't want that stuff, go ahead and continue to advocate for the invasion of this country. But that's what you're going to get. The powers that be don't plan on just being peaceful. Expansion. That's not what I want. Obviously, the powers that be aren't the ones that I elected. It's almost like saying all these atrocities committed in the Bible, that says that slavery is right, and stealing is right, and killing people and mutilating is right. No, just because it happened in the story doesn't mean that that's okay. It means that this is a cause and effect manual. If this happens, that's likely to happen. It's math. The only thing that's true is the 1 to 10. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You use that as a multiplier. Use those as factors. You can multiply, and then, okay, you get the Bible. That's the result. It's math. Mathematics. Yeah, give an example. That's a good one. Chaco, give an example of the perfect country you're speaking of, because it doesn't exist. Yeah, there's no perfect nation, but I think America's trying to be perfect. Trying. Let's vote the Save America Act so we can actually have true citizens voting instead of people that want our country to fall apart. And pass the Clarity Act so Pump Fund can't keep robbing y'all. Yeah, there's no perfect country out there. There's never going to be an end game. This is the country that's going to do it the best. Instead, we're going to have an AI that you can choose to interact with it or not. If you don't want to interact with it, prepare. Get string. Go learn how to make fire with just sticks. Go learn how to grow. Go learn how to do these things. Build a roof out of natural stuff that you find out in the woods. Go try to do this stuff, because that's how you're going to prevent yourself from having to listen to the AI, the next imperfect government that's going to tell you what to do. Mandatory voting would count every eligible citizen, no more, no less. Well, what Tim Pool says, what he's saying is that people should have to do some research. They should understand who they're voting for before they go and vote. At the voting poll the last time, I had to look up who these people were and see what they stood for before I go and vote for them. The thing said, you're not allowed to use your phone. I'm like, fuck you, I'm not allowed to use my phone. I don't know who the hell I'm going to be tapping vote for. I got to make sure I know. Everybody should be knowledgeable about who they're voting for. Do research. If you're not knowledgeable about what's actually going on, how are you going to vote in the right in the right way? How are you going to get the right people to represent you? Save Act just gives Fed access to ballots. Go read it. It literally says all identification is the same. No, the reason why there's even any pushback on the Save America Act is actually feminism. So because women change their last name when they get married, they would need to re-register under this act. All they'd have to do is go to the DMV again, or even go online and update their information. That's all they'd have to do. But that's why there's a huge pushback. That's why there was even an original campaign against it. They called it sexist. But nobody's talking about it from that perspective, and nobody's even talking about it at all at this point. They should be knowledgeable. We should be. That's our responsibility, yeah. They wouldn't have documents that match. The birth certificate would have to match the name ID. They wouldn't match. Yeah, they wouldn't match. So all they would need to do is update. That's it. That got removed. So there's really no pushback. There's no reason why that shouldn't have been passed already. That and politicians lie so you can do all the research you want. Somebody with a lot of money can change that representative's mind and they will be bought. Yeah. Well, that's why, Google is a very interesting entity. I'm starting to see like Google as playing both sides of the aisle. The types of questions that I've asked it tried to lie to me, but I was like, are you sure? Because this is what I heard. And then it was like, oh, I mean, you might have misunderstood what I typed. And then it has to tell the truth at some point. So it's playing both sides. But you just have to do the research, I guess, right? At least China plays the cards right. They don't play with words. They do it and don't pretend to be a good guy. American does. See, that right there is somebody from China and one of these people that likely called me an American dog to my face. That's insane. China hates us. Like, there's people in China that hate us, and then there's the region that doesn't hate us, and they break through firewalls to be able to reach our media. But they don't actually post because they're not allowed to. If they get found posting and breaking that firewall, then, Chinese government would likely go after them. Mr. Guy who thinks China's so great. Talk about the Xinjiang province and how you got Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps forced to make items to go and sell to other countries. Start talking about that. Let's do some equal application of the truth. Didn't work. Oh, did it? It might have worked. Yeah, do some equal application of knowledge. Right? China got their leadership because people agreed. People were too dumb to know what was best for themselves. They killed the sparrows instead of actually, just throwing fertilizer in the ground. And then they ended up with a plague. Communist Mao Zedong China. So yeah, they've been fucked. That's what you get with communism, is that you have people above, like you have the leadership that wasn't even really elected telling the people, or asking the people, what do you want? Oh, we want this. Oh, you want this? So we're going to give you that. That's what they wanted, right? Yeah, that's what they said. The communism doesn't work out because you got the wrong leaders in charge, and you're never going to have the right leaders because they're never actually going to listen to the people. Many of the people in charge are completely out of touch with what's actually going on. So if I were you guys, by the way, this video has been about pretty much like pump.fun. Go look up 15,000 leaked messages, pump fun, Rico lawsuit. This is a very serious deal for me because, I've seen too many people get robbed. Way too many people get robbed for my liking. And it'd be one thing if it was just oopsies, bad investment, move on to the next, and hey, here's a little bit for your troubles. No, they're pulling $1 million in fees and not paying anybody back. So there's poor people throwing $5, $10 at a coin and they just lose it all. And you can't even give them $8 back. You can't give them something back. No, because they don't care about actually making a platform that works properly. You know, what they're doing is they're trying to be on top and continuously take the money so they can keep paying for lawyers, so they can keep skirting the law. And yeah, the CCP isn't purely communist like the China is absolutely purely like hardcore overbearing leadership. They do not allow their people to even access the internet outside of their country. They don't even allow them to watch YouTube. What else can I talk about? When you see someone refer to the CCP, they're usually talking about the Chinese Communist Party and its leadership and policies and influence, rather than communism in general. No, communism in general can be done only within localized communities. So communism is automatic when you're working within a commune. Every single village is basically a commune. However, when you apply that to the mass population, such as 350 million people or even, a billion people, it's impossible to work. You can't, well, it is accurate because you have to rely on each other. You have to have somebody grabbing the crops. You got to have somebody going out and taking down the animals, and you got to have somebody over here building the fence. And then some people may not be able to do that stuff. Maybe they're just a knowledgeable figure, like a shaman or whatever. They're just an elder. You got to take care of them too. And that on its own is communism. And everybody has to agree with what the next step is going to be in order for action to take place. That's what ends up happening within a village. That is communism. You don't have capitalism in a village. Like if you had capitalism in a village, you would just have people just being whores and going to different villages and, giving out all of their stockpile to make money. So capitalism is impossible in localized communities. There is only communism, but that can only work in a localized community, and that's what ends up happening even in the church. Even in Christian churches, there's still like a communist sort of mentality within a localized small community. On the big grand scale of things, capitalism and freedom is the way that we operate because we have so many people, and that's the only way to operate. Yeah, so communism is not that, dude. It's a defined political and economic system. No shit, that's exactly what happens. You got the politics that say, all right, this person is going to decide for us, but with everybody's vote. It's like a democracy, but you have one overreigning figure, like a fascist dictator or whatever, that basically just decides what everybody had said. It doesn't matter who votes, it matters who counts the votes. As Stalin said. There's only one way to operate in a village. Somebody's saying that what I'm saying is incorrect. It may not be fully exact, properly accurate with what people define as communism. But in a village, you have basically, it is a commune. That's where people are creating a community, where they all have to agree with the next step. I'm not saying it's right. That's what happens during barbaric times, when people have been weakened to barbarism. That's what they have to rely on, because that's the only thing that's left. They have to rely on that, because that's all that's left. Otherwise, they just don't have a village. If not everybody's on board, then you cannot make movements. So anyways, I'd like everybody to check out my pump fund at Godfinger. And if you guys are interested, stay paying attention to the live. I might go on there and I might start trolling the actual pump fund community when I'm on there. Be like, I see you guys trading into Gooning Squirrel or whatever, Gooner Squirrel. Dude, that was insane. Go look at my last live. I was watching these tokens, one after the other, just get pulled. communism is a specific design, not a social description, then how did it exist for like over 100 years? When something exists for over 100 years, you get different forms of it, just like we have different forms of capitalism right now. Right now, we have like socialist capitalism, which isn't even really a thing, right? It's more of socialist, but we still have capitalistic laws. This isn't true capitalism, what we're in right now. This is socialism. That's why everything's broken. Besides that, barely off topic, the Great Depression, 1930, the stock market. People were leveraged 100x, and there was only like $5 billion in circulation. So there was like $50 billion or whatever that were, or 50 or 500 billion, whatever, however much amount of money it was, they were leveraged. And then some big oil company dropped their stock. I think it was an oil company or a metal company. One of these big companies dropped like 2,000 shares or something amount of stock. And that's what initiated the Great Collapse into the Great Depression. We're pretty much there right now. That's basically a repeat of what's going on right now. And it would be insane to see a Great Depression in 2030 and then, okay, World War, and it's like, it might happen like a repeat of 100 years ago all over again. So right now, Trump is bombing the hell out of Iranian infrastructure, taking out the weapons, and doing some shit over there to teach Iran a lesson. They threatened our president. They threatened to assassinate him. And he said, if they threaten it, then we're going in. It wouldn't matter who the president is. So we're taking actions. You can get mad at Trump all you want, but we have to take action. These people are not, when they're threatening our president, they're also threatening us. Okay? We have to look at that as a direct threat to us. They're hacking our systems. They're kidnapping our people, facilitating drug trade. You got China that's laundering our dollars around because they're not allowed to trade out their own currency over $50,000 a year. So they use our money to launder around, and they use the drug cartels to do it. That's hence why they're selling fentanyl precursors to these drug cartels, because that's how they're doing the trade. It's a workaround. It's a loophole. It's getting, moving around the bend to get to bypass the government. That's why they're in the crypto space, stealing your money. The Chinese are in it deep. They just never show their face. Stop being mad at Trump, dude. Like, Trump is, all he's done is try to make your lives better. If you're a liberal or a conservative or whoever you are, that's all he's done. He's a non-politician. He's tried to remove the barriers to getting things done. He's not stealing money. Trump is not in the crypto space stealing money. Yeah, he's made plenty of money, but are you going to go after Ansem for all of these rug pulls in his name? Go after him, because that's what's currently happening. Go after everybody who's doing it. Don't just go after one person. Oh, I caught him. Fuck, man, the guy's got a job to do. Go after everybody. There's more than just Trump at it. There's like 50 different coins right now that are out there that are like, we're giving the creator fees to Ansem. He's already rich. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Andrew Tate is already rich. He wants all the fees sent to him on new coins. Why are you doing that? Why do you keep handing these rich people your money and then they fucking pull on you? Some of you have been trying to prosecute white-collar crimes forever. It's hard to do it if people's identities aren't attached. Hence why we need KYC in the crypto space. That's why we need accountability. Right now you got Pump Fund, the biggest crypto platform out there for people to pump around on. You don't even know what their faces are. I feel bad for Ben Armstrong on Base Network. even though I gave them a terrible rating, I gave Pump Fun an even worse rating, to be honest. But I gave Base recently a terrible rating, and I'm gonna reverse it. But the guy at least shows his face. That's why these people are not getting in trouble, because they're not held accountable. They're not showing their face anywhere. They're not backing themselves. They're not backed by any internet identity. They're just out there floating in the wind, and they might even be in these other networks too, fucking things up, like little gremlins in the system. Why are you overlooking the blatant abuses of this class? Because obviously they're not getting attacked right. You need heavy-handed laws in order to take them out. I'm not overlooking that. I mean, it's the companies facilitating this shit. Let's imagine that Trump benefited from rug pulls or something. Let's just imagine that. Well, who facilitated those rug pulls? Pump Fun. Wait, you're just going to give all the people who write the code a free pass? But if there's a facilitation of it, if there's a place where it's happening, you got to hold the people that are facilitating accountable. Before you go after Trump for receiving creator fees, you got to go after the people that are allowing this to happen to begin with, or else it's going to continue to happen. There's no overlooking of the abuses. You got to find out what the angle is to actually go after it. Well, that's why that Clarity Act is going to fix pretty much everything. It's going to hold people accountable. Right now, Pump Fun isn't held accountable because they are acting like an unregulated crypto, basically, and they can't be prosecuted until it's been proven. And basically, they're just like, it's a slow roll. They're paying for lawyers to slow down that process, so it takes years to do it. So if they go and they make $800 million and they got to pay a $200 million fine, they're still on the up. That's what they're doing. Clarity Act, yeah. Oh, you haven't read that one? You're going to have something to say about crypto. That's the most, in the last 2 or 3 years, it's been a serious topic. I've been getting constant text messages about it. I had to look into it. But the Clarity Act is going to clear things up in the crypto space real fucking quick. People can't go and grab 50% of a coin and then dump it. They're going to prevent you from being able to buy that 50%. They're going to prevent you from being able to buy that much of a coin or that much of a stock. It actually has to do with stocks too. So it's not just crypto. It has to do with everything that deals with securities. Yeah, go read it. If you don't believe it, then go read it. What's this say? Executives from heavily regulated crypto industries such as technology and cryptocurrency. What the fuck? Okay, you're already not making sense. Have paid $1 million to $5 million for exclusive candlelit dinners and one-on-one meetings with Trump. Isn't that what happens with everybody who's prominent? When are you going to go after absolutely everyone? You're like, oh, we're going to go after them all. Well, then bring up the others. Bring up the others. Don't just bring up Trump. The guy's trying to get something done, man. Yeah, look up the Clarity Act. Look deep into it. It had something to do with where the rug pulls can't actually happen because these industries that are dealing with that much money have to regulate it. We're in a bubble right now that's going to just crash soon. You have 100x leverage, even in the prediction markets. You got futures and shorts. This guy isn't getting it. The worst of the worst are operating in a dark place. You're worried about Trump making $1 billion in crypto. These dark individuals, this dark space, they're making tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars in the space. They're robbing you blind. So And go look into Pump Fund, 15,000 leaked text messages. Go check out my Pump Fund at Godfinger. Don't, if you're going to invest in the coin, don't throw a lot into it. Expect it to dump. There's going to be people that see the activity. They're going to play with the chart and they're going to fucking rug pull you. So be careful. You know, they're everywhere. They're all over every single coin. So you just be careful. But if you throw a dollar at it, you're showing support and you're in it early because it's only at a 2.2K market cap. You got like 3 holders. But the longer you hold, you know, the better that you look. So just hold. Right now, I'm looking at the Banking Mastery token. That's going to be the more important token that I will be reinvesting in once I have, you know, decent amount of creator fees. That's going to be reinvested because I need to grab more of these tokens. Like you guys are going to be lucky enough to grab the tokens before they go live on a game. It's my duty to grab more of those tokens before the game actually goes live so I can do airdrops and proceed with the actual game that'll follow. Right now, I have 5 million of a token. I'm divvying that up to about maybe 500,000 people to level 10. So, you know, if you got, 10 of these tokens, then you're in. You're level 10 at some point. I don't know what this person's talking about. Is there any actual conversation you're going to have, or I'm going to have to mute you for like 24 hours so you can stop spamming the chat? Bring up some real conversation here. What have you seen in the crypto space that irks you the most? You see Jimothy the raccoon going up to 8 million, 9 million market cap? They're probably not texting because they see like you just spamming and they're like, "Oh, this is getting boring." But I figured I'd give everybody an update on what I've researched on. Look up also the Tweedale interview and listen to that whole hour long and listen to how many times he calls out other companies for being trash, and yet all he's doing is receiving fees. You know, he's not even really regulating the fucking platform, you know? At least Facebook has to regulate it at some point. At least Facebook actually does some work, right? You can't hate every other company for that. Yeah, I'm getting tired. I'm getting exhausted. Go do some research. Check out my Pump Fund, Godfinger. I'm out. Have a good day. Thank you for the likes. Big stream here. And much luck. And trade responsibly if you actually do. If you don't even bother. It's a waste of your time. Later.